There are so many questions around print on demand, how to do it, how to do individual parts of it. And over the last few months, I have spent a huge amount of time gathering questions from all types of sources, from our paid community, from our free community, from various employees that I have that I'm teaching about print on demand, from YouTube comments, from DMs, from Instagram DMs, all over the place. I have gathered a huge list of questions, all related to print on demand, some of which you have personally asked yourself if you've ever left a comment on my YouTube channel. So this video is dedicated to all of you, dedicated to everyone who's ever asked me a print on demand question. You can call this maybe a 100,000 subscriber thank you video. It's going to be extremely long, so what I would recommend is use the checkpoints. We'll have all the markers for all the various questions in this video, so you can, find questions that you have and skip through and watch the whole thing, whatever you want to do. But yeah, this is going to take a good amount of time. But I tell you one thing, it's going to be worth your time because I literally cover so much when it comes to print on demand. There is questions for everything. So let's just get started with question number one. And by the way, these questions have not been categorized. They are not in any particular order. They are questions that have been randomly organized, and I'm just going to plow through all of them. So question number one, can Photopea do the same things as Photoshop? Yes, it can. Photoshop is obviously going to be slightly more advanced, but Photopea has got very good reviews, and I've liked it quite a lot. Can you claim back tax on the tool you use? Great question, that is. So if it's a business expense, it can become, you can, well, I wouldn't say claim it back, but it can become a business expense. So you wouldn't have to pay tax on it. So, if the business makes £100 in profit and then you have a tool that costs you £20 or dollars, whatever, the business has now made £80 in profit. So you're only paying tax on the profit. What printing provider do you use? I use Printify, and through Printify they have various different types of providers, various countries, all that kind of stuff. So I use Swift POD, and I sell predominantly in America. So that's how I do it. And I also sell a t-shirt, the Gildan 64000. Is it easy to sell from your Shopify store if you're based in the UK to both the UK and the USA? Yes, I'm based in the UK and I sell to the USA on Shopify. And all that means is when I'm running my Facebook advertising, I am targeting the US. If I want to start selling to the UK, in my ads, I would target the UK. Number 5, are you selling on your Shopify store? Yes, I am selling on my Shopify store, quite a lot. Number 6, Shopify. Which theme do you feel works best for print-on-demand sites that are clean and look professional? So I actually like the Dawn theme. It's totally free and it's just brilliant. It's what our store is based on. It's what other $1 million brand stores are based on, and it just works perfectly. It's super straightforward to use. 7, what is the best overall design software for print-on-demand for a beginner? I really think the answer to that is Affinity Designer. It's really affordable. There's no monthly fee. You just pay once and you get access to Affinity. It's got the power of Illustrator without the cost of Illustrator. You can edit, SVG files, and it's just a fantastic tool. Number 8, t-shirt design question. Do shirts without statements sell as well as those with statements? Okay, so great question that. Shirts with statements, whether they're funny, serious, whatever, they tend to sell very well because it allows you to connect with the potential buyer just a little bit more. So, for example, if a buyer is looking at buying a t-shirt and they see one that has a phrase on it and they see one that's just a graphic, they won't have to even think when they see the phrase because the phrase is doing the thinking for them. They either laugh or whatever, whereas the graphic, they have to then figure out how that graphic relates to what they are thinking right? Does that make sense? So basically, if there's words on it already, it's kind of explaining the design in a way, whereas if there's just graphics, then they have to kind of explain it in their own mind. So yes, I do think that shirts without statements can get sales, but shirts that do have writing on them tend to sell a lot better from what I have seen. When selling internationally with Printify, is there a way to automate the provider selection based on the proximity to the customer instead of manually having to select and approve the orders? So now you have something called Printify Choice, which is where Printify will automatically fulfill your order to the from the closest and highest rated printing provider, which is great. However, I don't like using Printify Choice, mainly because I like to order my stuff and get samples and test the quality and make sure it's something that I want to sell. And with Printify Choice, because they're just using random suppliers that they've deemed to be good, I haven't actually tested them. So yes, you can do it, but I prefer not to. Number 10, is it difficult to get the first sale on Etsy, especially when the store has no sale records and no reviews? How do you normally break through this? Do I need anything? Okay, so the first thing you could do is just send messages out to family and friends, asking them to buy those first items, to leave those first reviews. The next thing you could do is run a promotion so that people are incentivized to buy. And then the last thing you could do, or the third thing you could do, is run Etsy ads to drive more eyeballs to your product. But yes, it can be quite difficult to get those first sales. How do you start? Number 11, how do you start as a non-designer? Great question. So I am a designer, right? I have been designing since I could pick up a pencil from a very young age. But saying that, even though I can design, I still look for alternatives because I'm all about saving as much time as possible. So if you're not a designer, you can use things like Creative Fabrica, Creative Market, Vexels, even Kittle and Canva have some pretty good like graphics and things. The only thing that you'll have to figure out is how to determine if a design is good or bad. Now, you don't need to actually be a designer to do this. You can, look at what the design principles are, and I talk about this in my community, but you can look at what the design principles are and make sure that the designs that you are finding are sticking to those design principles, and that's absolutely fine. You don't need to be a designer in order to make this work. Number 12, how can you become an excellent designer in the course of time? Okay, that doesn't really make sense. How can you become an excellent designer in a short space of time, basically? Putting in the hours. The more practice you put in, the better you'll become. It's like that with anything. I've just started playing tennis, and the only way for me to get better at playing tennis is to play more tennis. If I put an hour in a week, I'm probably not going to get very good. So the more you put in, the more you'll get out. Are typography designs a good way to start? Yeah, I like typography designs. Just text-only designs, they sell really, really well. How can you tie video content together with print-on-demand services to increase sales? So video content, I assume you're meaning like social media stuff. The best way that I have seen is to create organic social media content that isn't salesy. So for example, if you're in the cycling niche, rather than post a t-shirt or a whole bunch of t-shirts on your TikTok of just like the t-shirt being like, buy me, buy me, buy me. If you actually create some TikTok videos, like actual trendy TikTok videos, maybe someone on their bike, someone doing a cool jump, someone falling, something funny, right? And the person happens to be wearing the t-shirt, or maybe the top comment is, shop our t-shirts now, or maybe at the end of the video it transitions to it fades out to the website where you can be like, you can shop more t-shirts here. Something like that does a lot better than just spamming your social media feed with a mock-up of the t-shirt. Question number 15. How should products be organized and grouped within collections on Shopify? Great question. So with Shopify, I very much recommend starting with 100 products. Okay, and I'll get to that. There'll be a question about that later on. But the way I would try and gather them together is start with one collection, right? So if you're in the cycling niche, just call the collection Cycle T-shirt Sale and put all 100 designs in that collection. And make sure that the collection, or make sure that firstly, if you're selling on Shopify, you're just picking one niche. Make sure your collection is all cycling t-shirts. Don't throw in dog t-shirts and coffee t-shirts because it doesn't make any sense. So have one collection. Then as you start adding more products like 200, 300, 400 designs, that's when you could probably start adding collections like a BMX collection, a road cycling collection, a dirt bike selection, all that kind of stuff. Or maybe even like a best sellers collection. Number 16, while we do get inspired by others' sales or great designs, what is considered enough of an alteration to make the design our own? I'm pretty certain it should go beyond changing fonts. Amazing question. Okay, with this question, you have to also bear in mind that a lot of what you're seeing on Etsy or on Amazon isn't unique. So the best way to do this is when you're doing your research and you're building your mood board. We teach people to build a mood board on Figma, right? So when you're building your mood board of potential designs, you're taking screenshots of lots of the competition, right? If you want to design something like the competition, but you're not so sure if you can because it's theirs, the best thing to do is to screenshot that design and use Google reverse image search. And what that will do is it will search the internet to see if it can find that design anywhere else. And if that search brings back results of that same design all over the internet from various different websites, then I don't see a problem in also being someone that uses it. For example, if there's 20 people that are using the same design, why can't you be the 21st person, right? That design isn't trademarked. It's not unique to an individual. Now, on the flip side, if you do this and you can't find that design anywhere else and it's a truly unique design, then, and only then, do not use that design. That would be stealing. Don't steal someone else's originality, right? However, with designs that aren't original, especially ones that you can find on Creative Fabrica or Creative Market, by all means go and use them. If you want to change the colors, you can do that. If you want to change the font, you can do that. What I will say is our top selling design, our personal top selling design, is a design that I found. I did this reverse image search. I saw it on over 200 different websites. It's all over the place. And one of those websites was actually Creative Fabrica. So you could buy the exact design that everyone is selling. You can just buy the SVG file, right? Or with Creative Fabrica, it's part of the license, so I just downloaded it. That has become my best-selling design. And all I did, it was some form of a retro sunset design. And all I did was just change 2 of the retro sunset colors, and it's fine. Right, and because hundreds, if not thousands of people are selling that design, why can't I be the 1001st person, right? There's no uniqueness to the design. Number 17, I'm wondering about copyright when it comes to quotes and statements. There's a lot of the same quotes on different shopping sites. When is it deemed copyright or not? Again, I kind of just answered that with doing the reverse image search. If you're talking about copyright in terms of like music quotes or movie quotes, then I would highly recommend seeking legal advice. It's very risky, especially if you're selling on Etsy or Amazon. If you're selling on Shopify, it's less risky because you're probably not going to get banned, but you could get a cease and desist from the company if you end up selling quite a lot. Number 18, I see a lot of print-on-demand stores open for US and UK markets primarily. Is there a form of taboo for the EU sector, or is it just that most print-on-demand sellers are not from there? I would assume that there's a gap in the market, or am I wrong? Are EU customers not able to justify the price of print-on-demand stores when Temu and Shein exist? So people sell in the USA primarily because it's the biggest market, and the majority of people in the USA like buying print-on-demand items. It's a very American type of design, like the style, print-on-demand. UK is probably one of the next biggest markets. You've also got Australia and Canada, and there's absolutely no reason why you can't sell it in the EU. I've had a lot of luck in Germany, and I know quite a few people that primarily or even only sell in Germany and do very, very well. So I wouldn't be worried about justifying the print-on-demand prices. I think that's absolutely fine. I also wouldn't worry about Temu or Shein. 19, which mock-up style seems to get the most sales and traffic? Is it a quality flat lay or a lifestyle? Well, based on my research, it's just a flat lay. Is there a mock-up video maker for sneakers or t-shirts? God, that's a unique question. Presently I make my own videos, but wondered if there's one already made. You could try Printify. Maybe they'll have some video. I know they have some video mock-ups. I don't use Printify. Sorry, not Printify. What am I saying? So much talking. You could try Placeit. Placeit have video mock-ups. However, I'm not sure if they have any video mock-ups for sneakers. I don't use Placeit anymore, though. Just want to put it out there. 21. I have questions about choosing a niche. I've been thinking of designs for several niches. I was wondering if we should concentrate on one niche to start with or try several. And if we should only keep one, what should be the deciding factor as to which one to choose? So if you're going to sell on Etsy or Amazon, lots of niches, focus on, that's fine. Focus on what designs will sell best. If you're going to sell on Shopify, you want to focus on a single niche. Now, when it comes to determining how to pick that niche, there's many factors, and we have an entire course on this, but I'll try and give you the down low. You obviously want to make sure that you enjoy that niche. You know, you don't want to do something that you're going to hate because you're going to be spending hours and hours and hours designing. And if you don't enjoy what you're doing, you're probably going to give up. So don't do that. The second thing, you want to make sure that there's enough of an audience size in that niche, and you can use the Google Trends tool, you can use Google Keywords tool, you could search on Etsy and Amazon. And then thirdly, and this is a really important one, you want to make sure that there is enough design variability in that niche. And what I mean by that is, especially on Shopify, if you're going to create 100 designs, you want them all to be different. Okay, and I don't mean like unique designs that no one else has done, you know, unique to you. That's not what I'm talking about. If you find a design on Etsy that's doing really well and lots of people are selling it and you want to be the 21st person, by all means, go sell that item. What I mean is, on your own store, you want to make sure that item from A, B, C, they are all different items, right? They're all different designs within one niche. So if you're in the cycling niche, you want lots of cycling designs all within the cycling niche, but you want them to be different. You don't want the same design over and over and over again. Once you start finding winning designs through advertising and marketing, that's when you'll start creating similar designs to the successful ones. And going back to the question of, you know, how to use that as a determining factor, if you're going to pick a niche and you don't think that there are 100 unique designs or different designs that you could put on your store, then maybe don't choose that niche. Number 22, do you try to place your designs on multiple products, shirt, mugs, bags, if it's applicable, or do you have a method of choosing a product to focus on? I focus on t-shirts. T-shirts are the most popular products. Despite what anyone says, t-shirts are the most popular product. There are over 8 billion people on the planet. Almost everyone wears t-shirts. Not only that, almost everyone has multiple t-shirts in their wardrobes. When it comes to mugs or bags, I have like 3 bags, and that's all the bags I'm going to have. When it comes to mugs, we've got like 5 or 6, and now our cupboards are full of mugs, right? I'm not going to buy any more. But when it comes to t-shirts, I probably have like 30 or 40, right? And people have lots and lots of t-shirts. It's something that everyone buys. And it's also something that people will keep buying. Whereas when you have mugs, you kind of just have mugs. You don't really need to change those. When you have a bag, that's it. You've got a bag for quite a long time. But a t-shirt is something that, A, is affordable. You know, it's easy access for people to buy something, a design they like on a t-shirt. But B, it's also something that people just buy when they go to a shopping center or when they see it online. It's a good product, right? So t-shirts are the most popular product. Now, if I was going to sell on mugs and bags, I don't know why bags is random, but if I was going to sell on mugs or posters or anything, I would make sure that the design matches that product, because the design I make specifically for a t-shirt doesn't mean that design will work on a mug or a bag or a poster. Should a person stick with one print-on-demand company, it was a good idea to use multiple, for example, both Printify and Printful. I don't understand why anyone would use multiple. I use one, as I said, Printify, and more importantly, bear in mind when someone is buying something from your website, if you have multiple print-on-demand companies, let's say they buy a t-shirt and a hoodie, and it's coming from 2 different print-on-demand companies, right? They are going to be shipped out separately, and they're going to arrive to the customer separately, probably on different days, and also probably at different times, whatever. Like, it's just, they're not going to come together, right? And that's going to look really, really bad, especially when the customer's thinking, they forgot my order, I'm going to quickly email them. So you're going to get inundated with customer service requests because they'll be like, where's my order? And you're going to have to like, yes, it's coming in 2 separate packages. Now, the best way to counter that is to auto email people saying, thank you for your order. They are arriving in separate packages, separate days. Please be aware of this. That's one way of doing it. But honestly, I would just do the same printing provider. I don't understand why you'd have multiple. 24, when starting to sell on Etsy, typically how long would you say it takes to get the first? Oh, done that one already. I am very new to both this community and print on demand in general. I have spent some time researching niches, but I'm having difficulty determining how narrow to make my niche. Do you have any advice on how to balance being general versus pinpoint with a niche? Yeah, sure. Okay, so how narrow? Again, I'm assuming you're going to go on Shopify, but even if you're going to go on Etsy, when it comes to Etsy, or like I said, Etsy, Redbubble, or gosh, I can't believe I just said the word Redbubble. Etsy, Amazon, any of the other platforms, it's not so much about the niche. If you're talking about niche, I assume you mean Shopify. So in terms of how narrow to go, well, let's just use dogs as an example. So super general would be animals, right? You wouldn't want a store selling animal designs. It's very, very general. Taking it one step further would be, dogs. Well, that's pretty good. Taking it a step further would be a type of dog, let's say a Dutch Hound, right? Taking it a step further would be Dutch Hound t-shirts just for women. And then taking it a step further would be Dutch Hound t-shirts just for women who live in Texas, right? You can see how I'm going narrower and narrower. So animals is too broad, but dogs would be okay, right? And once you've got the dogs in general and you create those designs for dog lovers, the next thing you would do is determine winners based on the sales, right? And once you determine winners, then you narrow it down. Maybe Dutch Hounds get the most sales, as do Beagles and Cavapoos, right? If those get the most sales, then your next batch of designs will be based around those specific dog types, right? But then going too narrow is when it's like, don't just start with a single dog type because that's too narrow to start with. Especially don't start with a single dog type for a gender or a location. Number 26, concerning listing types on Etsy, is there any data showing whether using a combination listing is superior to making multiple listings? Okay, great question. So, for example, if you have a listing and, it's the same design, but you can choose whether it's mum, dad, brother, or sister, and you can just have a drop down, yes, you could do that on Etsy, and that works. The benefit of having multiple listings, even though it will cost you 20 cents per listing, it also allows you to have more of a presence in the marketplace. So, imagine there's 1 million products on Etsy. You can be one of those 1 million, and in that one, you have a drop down of tons of products, or you could take those tons of products and make them all separate. So now you don't have one, you have 10 products in that marketplace of 1 million. Of course, that's an exaggeration there, but the point is, you'll have more of your designs out there to be seen. Can a print-on-demand store be successful 5 to 10K a month with less than 50 designs? Do you know of any examples? Less than 50 designs. Okay, so again, put it like this. If the less designs you have, the harder it is going to be to find winners, right? So if you make 100 designs and 5 of those are winners, let's just say 50 designs, 2 of them are winners, right? 2 winners, it's going to be very hard to make 5 to 10K a month with 2 winners. So I don't understand why you would want to create 50 designs. It doesn't make any sense. Surely you want to make more designs because more designs equals more chances of finding winners. The more winners you get, the more money you're going to make. So no, I have never seen a store with less than 50 designs doing 5 to 10K per month. That is my honest answer. Is it possible? Yeah, I'm sure it's possible. Anything's possible. Is it incredibly difficult? Yes. So I would recommend posting more designs. Is it possible to build a store with customizable items like Zazzle, for example, a store where people can upload a pic of their pet? Of course. On Shopify, you can very much do that. Are most people happy with the Gildan 18,000 crewneck sweatshirt, or should I sell something like the Comfort Colors? Comfort Colors is always going to be superior, but it's a lot more expensive. The Gildan 18,000, I kind of like it. I think it's okay. It's not the best, but it's okay. Going on your experience, number 30. Going on your experience, how would you expect a budget of £500 towards Facebook ads to perform during a store's first month? Expanding, what 3 key factors would you focus on to having a reasonable budget? What key factors would you focus on to have a reasonable budget like this to be a success? Okay, so I don't really understand the last part, but basically your cost per click is very important. Your ROAS is very important. Those would be the 2 most important factors, I would say. And then £500, that's quite a lot of money. That's definitely enough to test out, a good portion of your designs, 60, 70 of your designs. And then from there, hopefully you'll find a couple of winners where you can turn the dials and optimize and, scale those designs. And that's where you'll start making back some money. But yeah, £500 is what, like $700, $750? It's a good amount. I like to recommend people have 1,000, not to necessarily spend in their first month, but I always like people to have spare money left over so that they can test more designs. How do you run and work with your process of hiring employees? And what do you limit their job title position to? Example, just hiring designers, but you upload their work, or hire someone to even manage your store and trust them with your Etsy account. Okay, so this is a great question about hiring. Basically, when I think about hiring, what I will do is I'll write down all the tasks that I do on a daily basis or a weekly basis, and then I will rank them 1 to 10. 10 being like super important, I have to do it. 1 being anyone can do it. And I base that ranking off of, as well as, I also base that ranking of how valuable that task is. So for example, making designs, right? That's probably the most valuable element of print on demand. So that is what makes the most money. That is the most important task. That gets a 10 out of 10 all around. I will want to do that. Unless I'm not a designer, in which case I'll hire a designer. So that is how I do it. And then what I do is when I see all the different tasks that I do, let's say like uploading to Shopify or creating mockups, when I see those tasks as being like easy tasks, not high value tasks, that kind of thing, that's where I'm like, right, okay, let's delegate those tasks to other people. So once you've got that long list and you see all your 1, 2s, 3s out of 10s, 4 out of 10s, 10 out of 10s, anything under a 5 out of 10, obviously this is your own ranking, but anything under a 5 out of 10, that's where I start to think, okay, my time could be better spent in the 10 out of 10s rather than the 5 out of 10s. So instead of me spending ages and ages managing mockups, uploading to Printify, because that's a very basic 3 out of 10 task, I'm going to give that to someone else. I'm going to pay them to do it, and I'm going to use all that time that I had been doing on it to do a 10 out of 10 task, like making more designs, creating more ads. That's how I would decide how to hire someone. 32. My question is regarding selling to different markets, such as Brazil, for instance. I know Gelato has a film in this country, but I've been hearing loads of bad things. Okay, so I do think there are other printing partners that would do countries like Brazil. Have a look at Printify and Printful. Gelato, I've heard good and bad things. Personally, I didn't have the best experience, so I don't recommend them anymore. But that's not to say they're not good. I know lots of people do enjoy them, but that's just my own personal preference. 33. I want to be a star seller on Etsy, and I know customer service quality. Okay. I get several contacts from companies wanting to sell me their services, not wanting information to buy. I answer that I'm not interested, and they bombard me with, why not? You need me because you're not selling much. I have figured out how to put them in spam, but I still get hassled and hustled. Is the Etsy algorithm going to ding me for not answering them timely? By the way, the same happens on Meta. Okay, so basically this question is saying, I get lots of spam messages on Etsy. If I don't respond to them, will it affect my potential star rating? Unfortunately, the answer is yes. I spoke to Etsy, I asked them, and you have to get to all your messages, or at least show that you've gotten to all your messages in a way. If you leave them unread, it will show that you have a bad response time. I think it's the dumbest thing ever, and I hope they change it, and hopefully by the time you're watching this, maybe they have changed it, but I think it's so stupid that spam messages that you get on Etsy can affect your star seller rating. But hey, welcome to Etsy. What budget should I set aside for advertising to try them out? I want to ensure that I have invested enough but do not go way over the top. So I suggest having $1,000 to start your ads on Shopify. Again, if you're spending $1,000, I would expect you've got a few winners. If you spent $300 or $400 and you still haven't found any winners, it's time to really have a look at your designs, determine what's gone wrong, look at your cost per click, look at your mockups, maybe create some different designs. Do not spend $1,000 just like that without analyzing. Make sure you look at your ads every single day. Have a look at the cost per clicks every single day. Have a look at all the data every single day, and make sure that you're on track to finding some winners. When you're spending $1,000, I really hope, or £1,000, I really hope you would have found some winners. Should I get friends and family to buy and give me some genuine feedback if they like the product and leave a review? You could do. If you're on Etsy, for sure. Amazon, if you want. You don't really need feedback on Amazon, but just to get yourself out of tier 10. On Shopify, I don't think it's important. I think you should buy one yourself to like test the buying process, make sure everything goes through smoothly. But I wouldn't recommend you get family and friends to buy, because having 1 or 2 or even 3 reviews on your store just looks a little bit fake. I think it looks better to have 0 reviews. That's what I've seen anyway. And then when you start having like 5, 10, 20, 30 reviews, that's when it starts to look like legit. But I wouldn't worry so much about that. I spent the first couple of months with no reviews on my store, and it didn't really affect sales. Now I have a bunch of reviews. Yes, my conversion rate is slightly better, but it's fine. Take your time with it. What's your advice around discounts and incentives? Do you offer discounts, e.g. get 10% for signing up, 10% off for signing up or sharing? If you do offer discounts, what are your offerings, and what's the absolute maximum discount you think is reasonable on a $26.95 USD t-shirt? So we do a 15% off when you sign up. So it's a pop-up that happens on our website, and they get 15% off if they sign up. And then we've also ran multiple discounts where it's like buy two, get the third one free. We've also tried 10% off. We also have done a free shipping. If we see someone's added to their cart and abandoned it, we will then send them an email with a free shipping discount. The one that's worked best is the 15% off for signing up, like a welcome offer. 37. Here is my question. How much money spent on ads did it take you to get your first sale? It was about $40. Also, is it possible to show some of your best performing ad creators? I show all of those in our Print on Demand Hub, which is our community. Comparing Amazon Merch on Demand's Shopify route. With Merch on Demand, it can take a while before evergreen designs start ranking and selling, even with ads. Do you think it's possible to grow a Shopify store faster? Yes, 100%. So with Amazon, I love Amazon, by the way. I think Amazon Merch on Demand is great. So this is not me bashing them. But with Amazon, you are very much reliant on the algorithm, especially at the beginning where you don't have access to Amazon ads. And also when you're only in tier 10. So you can only have 10 designs. So with Amazon, you're very, very much reliant on the algorithm. You'll post a design. You'll have to just wait, see if it gets any sales. With Shopify, it's completely different. When you post a design and you run ads, you are paying for traffic to come to your site. So after I create a design on Shopify or a group of designs, I know I'm going to get traffic. I'm going to get eyeballs to those designs. And if I get sales, great. If I don't get sales, I can see why I didn't get sales and then create different designs. With Amazon, it's a waiting game. You have to just wait for the eyeballs to come, and hopefully that happens. But you could go years with that not happening. You're literally reliant on the Amazon algorithm. So yes, because you're paying for traffic with Shopify, it's always going to be faster. How would you rate the customer service for Shopify? I have been having some issues. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Any problem I've had, the support have been very, very quick and helpful for me. And then again, anyone in our community that's had any problems with Shopify, and there hasn't been many, by the way, like 3 or 4, they've got their problems resolved very quickly. I'm curious about the dropout rate of people who arrive, as it means a passive income. Question 40. I am curious about the dropout rate of people who arrive as a means of passive income, but learn that it requires effort. I assume some stick to it because it's fun, but lose that came to make quick, easy buck. Basically, the question here is, I wonder how many people drop off because they thought print on demand was passive. I'm sure a lot of people, because it's not passive. It takes a lot of work. You're building a real business here. Cut through all the BS that you're watching on YouTube and everywhere else. A print on demand business is a real business. And real businesses aren't easy. They're not passive. They involve work. The brilliant part of print on demand is that it's scalable, right? And that's what I like. You can spend more on ads and spend less time doing the business and scale it up. But in order to make money, you need to put the time and effort in. Question 41. What is the best design website to design your own t-shirts and put your own spin on them? I use Affinity Designer, Affinity Designer 2. I also use Figma. I use Creative Fabrica. I use Creative Market. Sometimes I use Canva. Sometimes I use Kittle. There isn't really a best. It just depends on what your preference is. 42. How do I go about marketing on social media without doing paid ads? I answered this earlier. 43. If one does have a... by the way, I answered that one with the video where you create generic videos. 43. If one does have a small budget for marketing, what's the most cost-effective way to drive traffic to one store? I would consider a small budget to be in the region of $50 to $100 per week while starting out. Again, so don't give yourself like a per week or a per month budget. Just give yourself a testing budget. So, you've got 100 designs and you have $200 to test those designs. Do it like that. Then you can determine based on the data that you get from that test, which designs you want to take to the next step. Which ones you want to twist the dials and scale and optimize a little bit more. But yeah, $50 to $100 or like $200 for testing is fine. 44. How and when do you determine that a Facebook ad isn't working? Well, we do 5-day tests. If the cost per click is really high, over 75 cents, then we'll either try a different mock-up. If it still hasn't changed, then yeah, it hasn't worked. On top of that, if there's no, if the ROAS, if it's a bad ROAS, we're not actually making money from the ad, that could be a factor. But truthfully, if a design is getting no likes, no comments, like very little likes, little comments, little shares, the cost per click is high, all these kind of things, that is pretty much a dead design. I would cut that ad. 45. I'd like to understand better how to place the design both in Printify and in the mockup. It's difficult for me to define if the design is too big. Should I make it bigger on the mockup, even if it's different to Printify, so that it's easier for the buyer to see? No, do not do this. Whatever it is on Printify, try and make it exactly the same in your mockup. If you post it too big on the mockup, when they receive it and it's small, people will want refunds. Try and make it exactly the same. Now, in terms of the actual mockup, you want to just make sure you're in the box, obviously, but you've also left a tiny little bit of space at the top and on the sides. Okay, that way you're not too close to the neck and you're not too close to the armpits over here, right? So by doing that, it gives you a very good base of where to design that t-shirt. So you've got your box within the t-shirt on Printify, and then just kind of try and keep it within the box, but give yourself a little bit of a border. For a person new to print on demand and self-employment, what tips do you have for organization in regards to all the files we create, the mock-ups, the artwork, screenshots? Okay, so when it comes to screenshots of like other designs, all that kind of stuff, I use Figma, and I create various I have a mood board with like mock-ups from Etsy, mock-ups from Amazon, mock-ups from Google. No, sorry, not mock-ups. Design inspiration from Etsy, design inspiration from Amazon, design inspiration from Google, design inspiration from Redbubble, my top 10 designs that I've made. I keep it all in a Figma. Figma's free, and I think it's brilliant for this. When it comes to the designs, we number them. So we number our designs 1 dash and then the name of the design. And then that way, if we ever need to find a design, we can either search by the name of it or we can search by the number. And the reason why we do the number is so that when we do the mock-ups later on or the ads later on, we use the same numbers. So it's like, imagine the t-shirt's called I Fell Off My Bike. So it would be 1 dash I fell off my bike. The mock-up would be 1 dash I fell off my bike dash blue or dash black, depending on the color of the mock-up. And then the ad could be 1 dash I fell off my bike dash Facebook ad, right? Something like that. And that way and then we keep it all in a Google Drive in various folders. So design folder, mock-up folder, ads folder, and it's all really organized. 47. I started my Etsy shop in May, and I only get at most 10 views and 0 sales. What do I need to change? Well, more products. I don't know how many products you have, but more products, better mock-ups, maybe even start ads, and that would be the best way to do it. But the more products you have on Etsy, the more chances you are giving yourself to get views. Again, imagine you have thousands of products on Etsy. If you just post 10 products, you're not going to get seen. If you post 500, you might get seen. I've got 40 t-shirts on my site now. I'm thinking it's time to start learning ads and perhaps running my first campaign. No, try and go to 100 t-shirts. I've explained why earlier, but the more t-shirts you have out there, the more chances you're giving yourself. Again, this is the analogy I give in the community. Think of each t-shirt as a strand of spaghetti, okay? If you have 40 strands of spaghetti and you chuck them at the wall, some will fall, some will stick. The ones that stick are the ones that are getting you sales. If you throw 40 strands versus throwing 100 strands, which one's going to get more that stick, right? Obviously the one with 100. Now, you could also reply to this and say, well, then why not do 200 or 300 or 400? You could, but that's quite a lot. And that's a lot before you even know if a niche is going to work. You know, bear in mind, we haven't validated the niche because we haven't got any sales yet. So we say 100, throw 100 strands of spaghetti at the wall to validate that niche to see if you can get a couple of winners. I have a different pod provider other than Printify for different countries. Should I have separate URL extensions of my Shopify store or a completely different store name for each country that I'm in? No, I would suggest having a single Shopify store that just does international sales. You can have international prices. You can have local currencies. You could also still use a provider like Printify, as they have providers all over the world, and do it like that. Now, you could either use Printify Choice, which I spoke about earlier, or you can do it manually yourself. Personally, I do manually. Number 50, how much ad spend is ideal to determine if a design is a winner? It's a really good question. So we run our ads over a 5-day test, and we have a campaign, and then the ad set, and then the ads. And in a campaign, we can have like 5 ad sets. In each ad set, we have 5 ads. So we end up spending, a few $100s, but then we're testing quite a lot of different designs at the same time. An individual design, maybe it would have had $10 or $15 or $20 ad spend. I wouldn't say that's enough to determine if it's a winner, but that's definitely enough to determine, what the cost per click is going to be, if it's showing potential with likes, comments, and shares, all that kind of stuff. But what we found with our own ads is we typically spend a lot less than $10 to find a winner. Winners usually really stand out from the rest and just do really well. I don't know how to explain it, but they just do really, really well straight out the bat. As soon as you start the ad, they'll get sales after the first couple of dollars have been spent. And the way to think about it is you're looking at the cost per click. If the cost per click is low, let's say 50 or 60 cents, then what you're doing there is you're driving a lot of traffic to your store. So after spending like $2, that's 4 visitors if it's 50 cents, right? So if you've got 4 visitors, those 4 visitors, if the design is really, really good, you could potentially get a sale. Now, 4 visitors isn't very many, but if you spend $10, that is, what's that? That's 50 visitors. 50 visitors with a design that's good. Hopefully by then you should have got a sale. Number 51. What is the benefit of selling something that's already proven to be very profitable rather than just keeping it? I.e., why would you ever sell the print-on-demand brand that you've built? Okay, so let's say you have a print-on-demand brand on Shopify and it's doing 100K a month. These are big numbers. 100K a month in profit, which is 1.2 million a year in profit. Why would you sell that? That's a lot of money. Well, for some people, they get bored. They want out. They want to do something else, or they want a large lump sum of money. If you've got a brand doing 1.2 million a year in profit, you could probably sell that brand for over $1.5 million, right? And that will be a lump sum of money that just comes into your bank account. For some, they won't want to wait to get to that 1.5 million. They would just rather take it and leave or create a new business. So for everyone, it's completely different. I know, for example, Chris Heckman has sold a whole bunch of stores and he's enjoyed doing so. It's allowed him to focus on new stores. I love the idea of selling. I don't know if I will. I also love the idea of having a nice income stream or a profitable business and building up a brand name like Gymshark or any of these brands. I love that concept. I've always been into building a clothing brand since I was 13 years old. I really like fashion. So I might not sell mine, or I might, it depends. But it's a personal preference sort of thing. 52, is there any other reason not to start with only 50 designs, taking into account that I may start with 50 designs at the beginning and add 50 more once I'm ready? Yeah, I've explained this question already. 53, how do I know what I've designed is good or needs to be reworked? Does it get sales? Yes, it's good. If it doesn't get sales, no, it's not good. There's also principles that you can stick to before even advertising it, which I talk a lot about, not too many colors, not too many fonts, making sure it all matches, making sure that the phrase is good or the graphic is good. There's a lot of things to think about, and I do talk a lot about this in our community. But at the end of the day, however good you think a design is, or however good a design is based on the principles you followed, if it doesn't get sales, people don't want it. If it does get sales, people do want it. What SIC, Standard Industrial Classification, do I use? So in the UK, we set up a limited company with Companies House. It costs £50, yep, and it asks you to choose a classification of business type. So the classification I use is 47710. And again, this question won't make sense to most people, but if you are looking to set up a limited company in the UK, that's the classification I use with my business. 55, how do you deal with returns if you sell in America and you're from the UK? Amazing question. One of the best questions. I love this one. So we used to, I live in the UK. We get our orders in America. We used to have we still do, but we have a US forwarding address with My US, that's the name of the company, where we tell our customer to ship it to My US and My US ship it to us. That was costing us a small fortune. So we've changed it now. And instead of telling the customer, just keep the item, it is what it is, do whatever you want with it, because that can devalue our brand a little bit, that can look bad. We've flipped the narrative. We still tell them to keep the item, but we've flipped the narrative. And flipping this narrative is absolutely genius. So what we do is someone emails, says it's too small, there's something wrong with it, or simply, I don't want it. I always respond with, I'm so sorry, let me fix that for you. If it's too small, I'll send you the right size. If you don't want it, that's no problem. I'll give you a refund, right? Always, always, always give a refund or send the right size. But I tell them, what I say to them is this. I say, to make your life easier, so I word it like it's a benefit for them. I say, to make your life easier, I don't want you to have to spend time trying to return it to us. So what I ask is that if you don't want it, just donate it to your nearest charity, okay? I also then give a link to where they can find a charity that will come and pick it up from them. So I say you can use this website if you want, and they'll come and pick it up from you. And that way you don't even have to leave your house. But I want to just take as much hassle away from you having to return it. So just donate it to charity. Other than I go on and say how much we love charity. And again, with us in particular, we donate a portion of our profits to charity for every sale. So we also go and say that. If you don't do that, please don't say that. But by telling them to donate it to charity versus returning it to you, you are spinning the narrative that you are a company all about charity. And people absolutely love it. They resonate with it. And the replies I have got on these emails are amazing. People are just all over it. Like, oh my gosh, wow, that is such a nice thing. No other company has ever said that. I've had people email me saying this is the best customer service they've ever received. I've had people order 4 or 5 more items, even when they were angry and they were like, there's a hole in this, they don't like it, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm so sorry, you know. So by flipping the narrative and positioning yourself as a company that is charity focused and is all for them donating items they don't want to charity rather than just giving it back to you and it ending up in a stockpile of returns, people absolutely love it. So that's how now I handle with it. And on the plus side, it's a huge benefit for me because it saves me more money. It was costing me like $40 for them to send it to my US and then my US send it to me with all the shipping and the import stuff. Whereas this, it doesn't cost, it just cost me a refund, which is like $11 or something. So it's way cheaper and it spins the narrative and makes our company sound amazing. Well, our company is amazing. 56. I find matching fonts very tricky. Do you know any resource that could help? Yes, we have a in our paid community, but I can give it to you in the free community. If you want to join the free community, the link is down below. I will include this thing, which is our font. All the fonts that we use in all of our designs, they are the top selling fonts that we have and that we use. Usually that's just reserved for the paid community, but I'm going to just throw it out there. Go for it. Enjoy it. If you join the free community, you'll see it under the freebie section. Where to start first? Do you recommend creating ads first and then having them ready, or to set up Shopify and Printify first? So I recommend creating the designs first. Well, find your niche, find the designs. I've given the example with the tightrope analogy, if you've seen any of my other videos. Niche, designs, mock-ups, Printify, or whatever printing partner you want to use, Shopify, and then ads. The reason I do it in this order is because you need to have each one done before you can go to the next stage. Yes, of course, if you want, you can set up Shopify from day one. However, setting up Shopify from day one is going to cost you money. You want to try and save money. Now, Shopify have usually a $1 trial for the first month, or at least they do with my link. But I don't know if they have it for everyone, but whatever. They have a $1 trial for the first month. I want people to be able to take full advantage of that $1 trial. So if you have all your designs ready and you're good to go, then start Shopify. All you need to do is plug and play, start some ads, and by day 3 into your trial, you could hopefully start getting sales. And that way, you're already making money. If you start Shopify from day 1 and you don't even have your 100 designs, you could spend 2 months creating those 100 designs, and then you just wasted money. You've wasted that trial. You're now spending money on Shopify. You're not really using it. So I wouldn't recommend starting Shopify until you are ready to go with all of your designs, your mockups, and with Printify. 58. Can you run through the process of how you intercept and manage personalization requests on some of your stores? So we use Printify, as I've said many times, and the best way to do it is if you have your on Printify, you have it when you get a sale, you can have it automatically fulfilled, you can have it manually fulfilled, you can have it fulfill at a certain time of the day, you can have it fulfilled after 24 hours. If you are selling personalized items, then have it manually fulfilled so that it doesn't automatically get sent to the printers, and that way you don't even need to intercept it. You'll be able to see all your orders in Printify, you'll be able to amend them, edit them however you want, and then you'll be able to manually fulfill them. Now that is a very slow process, so what I have found the best way to do this is to hire a VA to be able to do this for you. So create obviously a very, very strict instructions on how to do it, whether it's with Loom or, over Zoom or whatever, but show them and teach them exactly how to do it and then get a VA to do all of this for you. But that's exactly how I would do it. So if you change your settings in Printify to manually fulfill the orders, and that way they're not automatically being sent to the printers. Number 59, how many ad sets do you advertise at the same time with how many designs in it? How do you decide the winning ads? So I have answered this question, but I have one campaign. For example, one campaign, let's just say 5 ad sets. In each ad set, there's 5 designs. Sometimes I have more ad sets. I can have 50 ad sets. But I usually have 5 ads per ad set. Number 60, how much time per day, per week would be good to put in? Minimum versus ideal. Honestly, truthfully, the more you put in, the more you're going to get out. So it's not a minimum or an ideal. If you put 5 hours a day in, you'll get quite a lot out. If you put 1 hour a day in, you'll still get a lot out. It will just be over a longer period of time. So it depends on what time frame you're on, how quick you want to get started, how quick you want to start getting sales. I'm an all or nothing kind of guy. I very much, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to give it my all. If I'm going to learn a sport, I'm going to really learn that sport. I'm going to get the lessons. I'm going to try every day. I'm going to really learn. If I want to start a business, I'm going to give it my all. If you don't have time to do that, I understand. You could do print on demand for an hour a day or half an hour a day. That's absolutely fine. There isn't a specific time. It's just how long it's going to take. Number 61. Do we have to set Printify order approval to manual if we are doing... I just answered that. If we're doing personalized items, yeah, that would be smart. 62. Should I have my entire mood board built before proceeding to creating designs? Yeah, I would do. So in our community, we teach people to build a mood board with Figma. I've explained that before. Having it fully built out, yeah, it will make creating designs easier. But then again, the mood board is never really finished, if that makes sense. We are years into our print-on-demand business, and I'm still adding designs to our mood board. Number 63, should we set up automatic transfers for Printify PayPal? How often do you transfer? Do we leave money in PayPal? So with Printify, I have my credit card connected, and that's how I pay for the items. So what I do is I have my credit card connected to Printify and to my Facebook ads. As orders come in, it charges every single day. So basically, it doesn't charge per item, because then it's just confusing and it's a mess. At the end of every day, it will gather all the items for that day, and then it will bill me. So I get billed once per day. And then at the end of the month, with all my profits, I pay off my credit cards. Is the Gildan 64000 tight or loose fitting? I think it's like pretty much standard fitting. It's not tight and it's not loose. It's just like normal. Standard. 65. Is it worth doing the Facebook shop when selling on Shopify, or should we ignore it for now? I think it's worth it, because there's always going to be some people who want to stay on Facebook and buy through Facebook rather than leave Facebook and go to your Shopify store. So why not? 66. What address do you put down for Shopify invoice address? If running the business from home, I assume it would be the home address. But I do not feel comfortable sharing my home address. Is there a workaround? You could use a PO box. 67. Or maybe if you have an accountant, you can use their address if they allow it. 67. How do you pivot when you have set up a company domain name and your concept or niche doesn't take off? So, company and domain are two different things. You've also got, domain, I'm going to change the word domain to brand. So you have a company and then you have a brand. So for example, in the UK, we have a limited company. And with that, I usually use a generic name that doesn't really mean anything, like T-shirts limited. Obviously, that's probably going to be taken. But, I use a generic name, and then I have a brand name with a brand domain and all of that. And let's say the brand is called, let's say it's called Carling, right? So my official business name that no one really sees for my record is called T-shirts, and then my brand is Carling, right? If the brand Carling doesn't take off, I can easily change it and still use that same company, so I'm not constantly setting up new limited companies. If the brand does take off and it does do well, and then I eventually want to sell it, I will sell the brand Carling with the company T-shirts. It's very normal to have a different company name to a brand name. Look at Google and then Alphabet, right? It's very, very normal to do that. And then also it means I can quickly change it if I want to. What is a Printify dedicated growth manager, and how does one utilize them? So when you start getting a couple sales on Printify, they'll email you offering you a growth manager. They're not. They don't really do. They help you get sales, but they also don't have their own businesses. So what they're saying is all just speculation. They don't really know what they're talking about. So it's nice to have like a contact in Printify, but I wouldn't bear too much weight on it. How much capital or credit do I need each month to be able to achieve a pure profit of $2,000 a month? How long would it take to realistically achieve? Okay, so I've answered this question a few times. It's not like there's no exact number to get to an exact number. It's all about testing, finding those winners, and then scaling those winners. 2,000 pure profit a month is around 6 to 8,000 in revenue. 6 to 8,000 in revenue is, let's just say, I'll say 7,000 in revenue is how many sales? About 200, just over 200 sales a month. There you go, around 200 sales a month. On Shopify, by the way, with a $20 profit margin. And that's including ads, that's including Shopify fees, that's including all of them. Number 70, when is a good time to scale the Shopify store after some time? What are the clues that lead you to add new products like hoodies or other scalable products from your niche? Do you wait until the design ideas are more challenging? So honestly, I think when your store hits a certain milestone of sales. So, you start with just the US market, just t-shirts, keep it simple, keep it focused, keep adding more designs and get yourself to, let's say, 5 or 10K a month. Then start adding hoodies in, start adding other products in. Then you start with your Google marketing, you start with your email marketing. You could even start with, you can even go into international sales. But that's where you start scaling up. Let yourself get to that milestone of sales every single month before you take the next step. And in order of steps, I would say, is email, Google, international, right? And then, of course, email and then add a couple more products like hoodies, then Google, advertising, and then international. Number 71, do you ever have to sell your product at full RRP value, or is it okay to always have it on some form of sale? Okay, so ethically, this is an ethical question now. We sell our items at $29.99. That's small. We increase our prices. If you've seen it in my previous videos, we've now increased them. We sell small to, or extra small to, extra large at $29.99, and our sale price is, I think, $33 or $34.99. I can't remember off the top of my head. And there's two ways to make this ethically okay, because some people don't want to just have a fake sales price. Firstly, it's completely okay to have your sale price the entire time, just by the way. But from an ethical standpoint, you could do two things. One, you could have that full priced item for a couple of weeks, and that way you are actually having a sale. Two, you could, if you're on Shopify anyway, you could have those same items for sale on Etsy. So let's say you're selling on Shopify, you can have the same items on Etsy at full price. So that on Shopify, it's technically a sale of the full price items, because Etsy is where your full price items are. Now, you're not selling on Etsy to actually care or get sale. It's just from the ethical standpoint that if you are selling a sale item on Shopify, in order to justify that sale, you can sell the full price item on Etsy. And that way, if anyone comes to Etsy and they see the full price, in your description, you'll say, these items are discounted in our Shopify store. Okay. Number 72. Are we only creating designs for the front? Does Printify also let you print on the back and on the sleeves? For the designs in the front, are we only working with centralized rectangular space, or would it be possible to print directly from the collar at the bottom corner of the shirt? Yeah, with Printify, with print on demand in general, you'll just have a rectangle square on the t-shirt. You can't print over here or down the bottom. You can also print on the back. On the back. You can print on the front. You can print on the side, on the arms for some t-shirts. We just do front and we just do back. I don't know if you saw. I have design. Oh, you can't. My laptop's in the way, so I just span for no reason whatsoever. But yeah, this isn't one of my designs. But yeah, you can do front and you can do back. That's what we focus on. 73. What are the considerations for selling to Canada and the UK with US-based shop? I've discussed this earlier. Just obviously make sure that you have a UK and a Canadian printer ready to go with Printify if you're going to use Printify, and then also make sure your ads are targeting those countries. Number 74. For Shopify metrics, what should we look at? I noticed people talking about the views, add to cart, and conversions. Chris Heckman, that is, in one of the videos called Page Views. What is that and how does that work? Okay, so you want to obviously look at the people that come to your website. And then it's goes down. So people that come to your website, people that add to cart, people that initiate checkout, right? You want to see all of those conversion rates so that you can see where things could be going wrong. So if you're getting lots of add to carts, but not many people are following through, there could be a problem with your checkout page. Maybe your shipping is too much, because that's where people will drop off at that point when they see shipping for the first time. So those are probably the three most important metrics. 75. How can your store design stand out from the crowd when potential customers have probably been seeing similar designs all over Facebook, Amazon, Etsy? Basically, how to deal with huge competition. Okay, so with Etsy, huge competition, it's just a numbers game. You just want to have more designs. You want to shout louder, right? So that people see you. With Shopify, I'm not worried about competition at all, because I'm driving traffic directly from Facebook or Instagram or TikTok directly to our store. So when they're on our store, there's no other competition, right? The only other products that they can see are more products from our store. So I'm not worried about competition at all with Shopify. It's one of the biggest perks of Shopify that I can sell the top trending, most popular designs on the internet, and I can sell them on my store and not worry about competition. It's flipping brilliant. So that's why I like Shopify. But again, with competition on other platforms like Amazon and Etsy, it's a numbers game. 76. Is it better to create the mockups before or after uploading to Printify? It doesn't matter. You create the mockups before or after, doesn't matter. Just make sure that you have all your mockups done before you open Shopify. So this is asking, is it better to create mockups before or after uploading to Printify? So yeah, that doesn't matter. Are we only designing adult shirts or also kids? Can some be for males, some be for females, some be unisex? So we just have one type of t-shirt, the Gildan 64000, and that is for men and women. We don't do kids t-shirts at the moment. Like I said, trying to keep our store simple, to the point. My goal here is to get sales, and in order to get sales, I want to focus on more designs and more ads, and I want to keep it simple. You know, the more products you add, the more complexities that you're adding to the overall workload, and it's just shiny object syndrome. You know, it's just distractions. Focus on t-shirts. Men will happily buy Gildan 64000. Women will happily buy Gildan 64000. I'm living proof of that. So just go for that. Why should we consider Shopify over other e-commerce websites, hosts, and builders? That's what I used, which is why I recommend it. There are other platforms that are pretty good as well. I know people that use WooCommerce. I like Shopify. I think it's really user-friendly. There's so much training on it because it's such a popular platform. Their support is amazing. Their fees are okay. And I just think it's good. Do you plan out your work schedule? If so, how far in advance? Yes, I plan out my work schedule. I use Todoist, and I look at it every Monday. I go through my Todoist every Monday, and I organize it for the week. And then either the evening before or the morning, the first thing I do is go over my tasks for that day. I'll also try and speak to various people that work for me and make sure everyone's on track. 80. What if you love two very different niches, you know both well, can you try two separate niches in different shops? Yes, you could, but just do one at a time. Bear in mind, it's all about focus. You know, if you can focus 100% of your attention on one, or you can focus 50% of your attention on two, what's going to do better? The one that you're focusing 100% of your attention on, or the two that you've split your focus between? So start with one, get it to a point that you're happy, either sell it or scale it or whatever, and then if you've got time and you actually want to, do the next one. But I really love the concept of tunnel vision. So if tunnel vision being focus on the task at hand, if you're going to do a niche, focus on it. If you're going to do design, focus on it. Forget everything else. Make everything else blurred. You know, don't worry about ads. Don't worry about mockups. Don't worry about Shopify. Just focus on the designs. And then when you get to mockups, forget everything else. Focus on mockups. And do this for one niche at a time. Okay. What kind of designs don't print well? For example, what's the limit of font thickness? Will color gradients work? So gradients don't usually work so well. They look nice when they arrive, but then in the wash, they kind of get messed up. That's not to say they get messed up on Printify. They sometimes do, but in general, just in print on demand, they don't print the best. And then also fonts. Again, I've shared the list of fonts that we use, the top selling fonts. There aren't very many thin ones. Thin fonts don't tend to do so well. If you like a font, but part of the line might be too thin, is there a way to go over that line to make it thicker? Yeah, add a stroke to that font, basically a border. 83, on social media, what should you post to grow your audience? Video stuff, virally trendy videos. 84, how do you become better at designing for print on demand? That's a good question, that. By watching lots of videos, training, watch tutorials. I know Juna on YouTube has a bunch of tutorials, detour shirts. Lauren, my wife, has created tons of tutorials in our community, but watching tutorials and learning how to design. How much money do you need to start print on demand? Great question. I like to tell people $1,000. And I'm not saying you throw $1,000 away in the first month. I'm saying that $1,000 should keep you going for a little bit of time and give you some spare money, and also just keep your mind at ease that you're not emptying your bank account. What is the biggest difference between print on demand platforms? So that's a very broad question, but you've got platforms like Etsy and Amazon that have an inbuilt marketplace, and then you've got Shopify where you've got to send your own traffic, but it's where you're building a brand and you own the business. Whereas with Amazon and Etsy, you can get suspended at any time. You don't fully own the business. You don't own the customer. However, that marketplace of millions of customers can be quite useful. How do I make sure my designs won't get copied? You can't. There's no way to do that. You can send cease and desist if you see people copying your designs, but at the end of the day, a popular design is going to get copied. It sucks, but it's just life. What is the best beginner-friendly design tool? I like Affinity Designer. What are the most popular print-on-demand products? T-shirts. How do I make sure my products are of good quality? Get sample orders. Just get samples. I did a video on YouTube, if you've seen it. It's where I tested every single T-shirt from Swift POD, from Printify, and I gave a whole spreadsheet. So definitely go check that video out. But the Gildan 64000 was perfect. Are there any third-party tools that you can use for store analytics? I wouldn't worry about that. How much money is enough to start paid traffic? Again, it comes down to the same thing, $1,000, but with paid traffic to test out your ads, we're looking at a couple $100. How is the future of print on demand looking? Well, really good, because t-shirts don't seem to be going anywhere. And unless in 50 years' time, the world becomes some form of nudist place, people will always wear t-shirts. I really hope the world doesn't become a nudist place. But people will always wear t-shirts, so I don't see why it will go anywhere. Is it too late to start print on demand? No. T-shirts will always be for sale. People will always need to buy more t-shirts. There will never be enough. So there's always, time for you to get into it. Is print on demand hard to get started? Yeah, it's like any other business. I'm sure it's easier than some businesses, but in terms of business, it is hard, It's easier to not do it, obviously. And is it the easiest? No. Is it the hardest? No. It's somewhere there nearer the easier side, but not the easiest. How do I network with other print on demand people? That's actually a very good question, because print on demand is a very lonely business, right? It's something that you do at home. You don't really interact with other people, which is one of the reasons why I built the Print on Demand Hub. It's a community of like-minded print on demand sellers, and everyone can talk to everyone, and everyone helps everyone out. Finding communities, Reddit forums, Facebook groups, that kind of thing. How long does it generally take to see results? If you're running Facebook ads, it could be literally a matter of days. If you're running, if you're selling on Etsy or Amazon, it could be days, months, years, anything. What should my profit margins be? Good question. So our profit margins are, on a t-shirt anyways, we're selling at $29.99, just over $20 per item, but then of course we have to factor in ads. So we like to go for a 30-ish% profit margin. Sometimes it's 25%. 25 to 30% I think is a good profit margin. How can you eventually scale a print on demand business? You could sell internationally, you can add other products, you could try other advertising avenues, but selling internationally is probably one of the biggest. What are some risks when starting print on demand? Risks are thinking it's easy, thinking it's passive, going in with the wrong mindset, going in thinking you're not going to try hard and that anyone can do it, going into it without being adaptable or willing to change. If someone says, your design isn't good, they are only trying to help, and they're not out to get you. Likewise, if a t-shirt doesn't get any sales, don't think, oh, it's still really good. It has potential. I'm going to keep going with it. No, listen to what people are telling you. Listen to the audience. Listen to your metrics. If you're not getting sales, then there's something wrong with your t-shirts. How can you implement subscriptions into your print on demand business? Oh, that's a really good question. This is very new, but you could do a subscription-based service where you send a couple of t-shirts every month if they sign up, like a random picker. What SEO strategies are good for print on demand? So if you're on Shopify, I wouldn't really worry about SEO. If you're on Etsy, then you want titles, descriptions, bullets. You want to make sure you've researched these titles, descriptions, and bullets. You want to see what other winners are doing, what the top selling designs are doing, and implement their strategies. Should I start a YouTube channel to drive more traffic? For print on demand, no, not really. I don't really see the connection unless you're going to become some form of influencer and you want to have some merch. How do you stay ahead of the design trends? I just try to not really focus on trends. I focus on evergreen designs, and that way I'm not constantly chasing trends. What are some examples of design trends in 2024? Well, I guess the biggest one is going to be the political trend because of the presidential election. That would be a good trend. Should I make funny designs or more aesthetically pleasing designs? I actually think funny designs sell the best. From what I've found with my store and the stores that I have analyzed, funny always sells best. So have a healthy mix, but I think the more funny, the better. Should I showcase the clothing myself or should I use mock-up templates? So I think starting out with just a flat lay mock-up is fine, and then down the line as you start scaling up your store and you start taking it more seriously, and you know your store's a winner, then that's when you can start introducing model pictures. Maybe you can take them yourself. So we've just started now taking model pictures because we know our store's a winner. We're doing quite well with it. We're getting a lot of sales. And now the designer in me, the brand builder and the apparel person, because I always wanted to build a clothing brand, right? So that person in me wants to go out there and take professional model pictures. And I'm going to because I'm a photographer. But don't do that until you're making serious money from it. Should I show? How can you learn from other print-on-demand businesses? Have a look at what their sales are. Have a look at what their ads are, because you can go on Facebook Ads Library, you can see all the other ads. Have a look at other Shopify businesses and see, what their stores look like, all that kind of stuff. How can I collaborate with small influencers to increase my sales? The best way to do it is just to email them. Mass email as many as you can. You'll get 99% no's, but a couple of yeses is all you need. You could send them free stuff. You could pay them. That's something that you would have to organize with them based on what they want. But it all starts with emailing them or DMing them. How many designs do I need to get started? I'd say 100. How much time should I spend making the website? If you follow steps to do it, like let's say in our community we have specific steps, it should take you no longer than an hour. If you're trying to do it on your own, give yourself a couple of days. Do I need a good logo? A logo helps, but don't spend too much time on it. You can always change your logo. We changed our logo quite a few times. How can I eventually hire people to make the process? Okay, so I've answered that one. If you could only choose one, which is the best for paid traffic? Google, Facebook, Instagram, Facebook. And also, by the way, Facebook and Instagram are basically the same. How can I lower my prices? Just lower them? I mean, I don't understand. Just lower them. I wouldn't lower them though. If I like the prices that we have, they work well. Our profit margins are good with them. How much is too much concerning the pricing? That's a hard one. You know what? I'm not answering that because that would just be theoretical, and I don't like doing theory. I like answering things based on my own experience. We sell at $29.99 for extra small to XL, and then we go $30.99, $31.99, $32.99, $33.99. Again, if we're selling like really high quality, or we become a high price brand, maybe we'll go up to $40 or $50 per t-shirt, or maybe even $75. I think $75 would be the max if we're like a brand like, I don't know, Supreme or I don't know, something like that. But I don't think I'd ever go that high with print on demand. That's when I would start getting the clothing made like locally myself. I don't mean myself as in like me doing the sewing. Do I need to use my face on the website? No, you do not. 118. Gosh, we're up to a question 118. How effective is a blog to promote your print on demand business? It's not effective. I just ignore blogs. And this is, a lot of people like to have a blog on their Shopify stores. This is my response to that. What is your goal? Is your goal to get sales? Is your goal to get readers? Or is your goal to get viewers? Like whatever. What's your goal with your Shopify store or your print on demand brand? If your goal is to get readers, then yes, start a blog. For 99.999% of people, their goal is to get t-shirt sales. If your goal is to get t-shirt sales, why add a blog? It's a distraction. You want people to come to your website, find a t-shirt, buy a t-shirt. You don't want people to come to your website, find a t-shirt, get distracted by the blog, and then leave, right? It's just a distraction. Why have a blog? You don't need it. People are like, oh yeah, but you need it for SEO. You need it for traffic. You are paying for traffic to your website. You don't need a blog. A blog is a distraction. Likewise with any other distractions. Just think about what you are trying to achieve and then give your customer the easiest pathway to achieve it. If you're trying to get t-shirt sales, just sell t-shirts. Send them to the website, list t-shirts, have them see the t-shirt, sell the t-shirts. What social media platform is best to focus on for print on demand? So we have Facebook ads going, but eventually, TikTok is huge, especially TikTok Shop. What is the best printing technique? There's so many. There isn't. I don't think there's the best. What material is best for a t-shirt? Again, there's so many. Like I said, I use the Gildan 64000. Question 122. What is the first thing I should do when getting started with print on demand? Find a niche. Well, actually, determine what platform you want to sell on. Once you determine what platform you want to sell on, if it's Etsy or Amazon, skip the niche and just focus on top selling designs. If it's Shopify, then focus on a niche. When should I apply discounts? We have discounts straight away. We offer people 50% off when they sign up. What is the biggest reason people fail with print on demand? That's a good question. Either they give up or they don't change, meaning their designs aren't good and they don't accept that the designs aren't good and they don't see that the designs aren't good and they keep trying to do it. They never get any sales and then they eventually give up. How can I legally set up a print on demand business to avoid tax issues? I don't know. I would suggest speaking to an accountant for that one. I don't understand why there'd be tax issues. Just make sure you keep account of your income and your expenses and all of that, and then make sure you pay your tax. How do I leverage an existing brand for my print on demand launch? That's quite cool. So if you've got an existing brand, you could do a whole launch party kind of thing where you post for a couple of weeks saying something big is coming on your social media platforms, and then you launch with like maybe limited supply or like first edition items. That could be quite cool. What's the best place to market my print-on-demand business social media? I've already answered that. What works best for converting traffic into sales? What works best for converting traffic? I think Facebook ads works best. How do I choose the right niche? We've answered that already. What's the best way to set up automated ads for a print-on-demand store? I wouldn't set up automated ads, but you can have like a catalog ad where on Facebook it will send traffic to all the different products on your store, and then you can start determining which one is good. How many designs do I need to launch my print-on-demand business? 100. How can I improve my conversion rate with the Facebook ads? A lot of the time it's your mock-ups. 130, and then obviously your designs. 133. I know a lot of these questions are repeat questions, which is why I'm just ignoring them. But yeah, 133. What should I look for in a successful print-on-demand mentor or community? Someone that is willing to help you, someone that is willing to be truthful with you and not beat around the bush. If someone is telling you, yeah, it's easy, oh yeah, your designs are great, all these things, then maybe be a bit wary. If someone is being truthful with you, they're telling you it's hard, they are telling you when your designs are bad, they're actually giving you actionable advice. You know, they're not just saying this design is bad, they're telling you why it's bad and how to improve it. Those are the people I would listen to. How can I build my business while working a full-time job? You know, an hour in the evening or half an hour in the evening? What are the key steps to setting up print-on-demand store on Shopify? There's a lot of steps, honestly. Again, like I said, I start with the Dawn theme and then I create a very simple store based on other $1 million stores. We talk about this a lot in our community, but this is a long-winded question for this video. But yeah, basically the first thing you want to do is you want to have Printify, and then you want to sync over all the products to Shopify. Then you want to actually design the store where you keep it very, very basic. You have your logo and then your menu. So you have home, shop now, about, and contact. That's it. And then you have your banner and then your best sellers. So like your top 12 designs with a view all button. And your view all goes to the shop now, which is the collection page, which is all your designs. That's really what it should look like. What are the key steps to... Oh, I just did that one. 136. How can I scale my business to reach a monthly profit goal of $1,000 to $2,000? Well, once you find a couple of winners, let's say 5 to 10 winners, you'll probably be hitting that monthly goal. So you could hit this monthly goal without email marketing, without Google ads, without international sales. You could hit this monthly goal just with your initial 100 designs for sure. What's the best way to integrate Printify with Shopify? You could either do it directly from Shopify where you add the app in the Shopify app store, or you can do it in Printify where you connect a Shopify store and do it that way. Sometimes doing it through Shopify doesn't work, so I always recommend doing it through Printify. With Printify, you just have to add a new store and then select Shopify. Can I use influencers to market my print-on-demand products? Yes, you can. What are common mistakes people make in the print-on-demand that I should avoid? Not taking criticism and creating bad designs, and falling in love with their designs. How do I know if my pod design is, or how do I know if my print-on-demand design or ad is a winner? Okay, so I've answered that already. How can I use AI tools to improve my designs or marketing? So you can use AI in marketing in terms of coming up with good copy. You can use AI in designs in coming up with just different designs, some silhouettes, some other cool designs. Don't overdo it and don't make it look like AI, because designs that look like AI don't tend to do so well. What are the best ways to drive traffic to my print-on-demand store? Honestly, if you're in Shopify, Facebook ads. How do I set realistic financial goals for my print-on-demand business? Pretty good question, that. Give yourself a budget of what you can afford, and base your financial goals on that. Give yourself an aim that you want to find, 5 to 10 winners with your first $1,000 budget, and then scale from there. What's the best way to handle customer service? I do my customer service every morning. I wake up, I have it on my phone, and I just go through my Gmails. I get like maybe 3 or 4 emails, not even every day. I get maybe like 6 emails a week, maybe 10. Very few people care about emailing you. It's true. No matter how many sales you get. Well, no, the more sales you get, the more emails you're going to get. But with the amount of sales we're getting, which is quite a few hundred a month, we get very few emails. But yeah, just go through them every morning. It should take you no longer than 20 minutes. Number 145. How do I optimize my product pricing for maximum profit? Okay, so I've discussed pricing. How do I create evergreen designs? 146. Have a look at the top winning designs on Etsy, Amazon, Redbubble, Google, and base it off of that. How do I manage and track the finance numbers of my print-on-demand business? So I would recommend using a profit and loss sheet. We give out a profit and loss sheet in our paid community. I guess I could put that in the free community as well, but it wouldn't really make sense because no one's really up to that in the free community. But it's just a profit and loss where we put in all the expenses, all the profits and everything. We do it every single day. It takes us about 5 minutes and it allows us to track everything. It's great. 148. What should I focus on first? Building my brand or generating sales? Well, again, niche, design, brand, printing partner, Shopify, ads, and then obviously after ads is sales. When it says building your brand, okay, so you could spend money and do brand awareness ads and actually build out your brand, but yeah, focus on getting sales first. But I mean, you still want to have the brand from the get-go. How can I avoid burnout while building my print-on-demand business? Make sure you take good breaks. Make sure you understand the difficulties in it, and make sure you know what you're getting yourself into. And yeah, I think most importantly, make sure you just take breaks. What resources are crucial for scaling my business to 6 figures? What resources? Okay, so I would say having help from someone who's done it is a great resource. And that's probably the best resource I could suggest. Now, of course, I'm biased because we have our paid community. You could use YouTube if you don't want to pay for anything. But getting to 6 figures will be easier if you're getting advice from someone who's done it. Number 151. Can I use Pinterest to drive traffic to my print-on-demand products? Of course you can. Why not? Pinterest, you can also use Pinterest ads. I don't personally do it myself. So this isn't me saying it works or it doesn't work or I have made it work. I don't use Pinterest and I like being honest. So you can try it. You can test it. There's nothing wrong with testing it. It's another platform, another social media platform that can drive traffic. So why not? 152. How do I handle the challenge of slow sales when starting a print-on-demand? Well, if you're going to be doing Etsy or Amazon, it's just a matter of adding more products, as I've said. With Shopify, if you're getting slow sales, then it's about creating more and more designs, more and more ads, trying to find those winners. Now, a winner isn't one that gets a couple of sales here and there. A winner is one that really gets a lot of sales. You know, one that has a great ROAS, a great cost per click, all of that. And if you're getting slow sales, create more designs. How do I reduce abandoned carts? Send out abandoned cart emails. They really work. And in those emails, you could offer free shipping. You know, hey, you left something in your cart. We just want to make sure that you haven't forgotten about it. Here's free shipping to help you out. Something like that. How do I determine the best target audience for print-on-demand products? So when you're finding your niche and you're building out your niche, you will then be able to see who your audience is. But again, it's mostly going to be men and women. 155. What strategies can help me break through the saturation in a popular niche? In popular niches. Well, we sell on Shopify. I'm not worried at all about saturation. So the strategy, I guess, is to sell on Shopify because you're building your own store. There's not really much saturation or competition to worry about. 156. How do I deal with the competition from large-scale print-on-demand businesses? Okay, pretty much the same as the previous question. If you're selling on Etsy or Amazon, upload more and more and more designs. If you're selling on Shopify, I wouldn't worry about the competition from other businesses. 157, how should I manage the time and resources when working on multiple print-on-demand projects? Work on one at a time. That's what I would suggest. Rather than split your focus between all of them. And again, let me just give you another scenario. You know, you are into sports and you try to get good at table tennis, badminton, and football all at the same time. You could either play all of them every week, or you could play one of them every single week 4 times rather than 4 different. Which one are you going to get better at? The one that you're playing over and over again 4 times a week. Just do that with your print-on-demand store. 158. What are the benefits of offering limited edition or seasonal products in print-on-demand? Scarcity is a good one. People will want to buy because they fear of missing out and not being able to get it later. So just, that's one good thing. Of course, having seasonal sales or things like that would obviously be good. But yeah, the benefits are that you would just obviously get a whole bunch of sales and you could probably even charge a premium for them, for the designs. 159. What are the best practices for creating compelling product descriptions? Honestly, well, with Shopify, I'm not worried about descriptions at all. We have a bog standard description that we use on all of our listings. With Etsy, I'm a little bit more creative. With Amazon, not super creative. I'm just trying to get the keywords in there. But you could use ChatGPT, but also have a look at what other people are doing that are getting sales, because clearly they know what they're doing as well. How can I use email marketing to boost my print-on-demand sales? Well, once you start getting emails, so we use Klaviyo on Shopify, and whenever anyone comes to our website, they get a pop-up saying get 15% off your first order, like welcome message, and then we email around 3 times a week, and then we also email sales and stuff. What's the best way? 161. What's the best way to manage cash flow in a print-on-demand business? Don't go buying supercars. No, the best way to manage cash flow is obviously, well, like I said, the way I do it is we pay for ads and we pay for our cost of goods like Printify stuff with a credit card. So it's all managed on that one credit card. Well, actually, that's a lie. We have two credit cards. We have a credit card for ads and a credit card for designs. We keep it all separate, all really organized. And then at the end of every month, we pay off both those credit cards in full. We never, ever let it go over. And we pay it off with the profit. And we use our profit and loss sheet every single day to track it all. And then at the end of every month, we look at the profit and loss sheet and we analyze what went right, what went wrong, and what we need to do. How can I differentiate my store in a competitive market? 162. There's a lot of competition questions, I have to say. Shopify, I'm not worried. Let's put it that way. 163. What are some creative ways to use social proof in the marketing of my store? Reviews, testimonials, that kind of thing. You can get photo testimonials, video testimonials, or text-only testimonials. I use the tool Loox. It's quite expensive, though, on Shopify. You can also use judge.me. 164. How can I create a strong brand identity for my business? Well, basically, if you have a logo, a name, and a good About Me page, that could start. We like to give ourselves even stronger brand identity by doing a... like I said earlier, we give to charity for every sale and all these things. We also have imagery and we have a cohesive like color scheme. So all that kind of stuff can help with your brand identity. Basically building some form of brand kit. 165. How do I build a loyal customer base for my print-on-demand products? A loyal customer base is have the best customer service. How can I ensure my designs comply with copyright and trademark laws? You could use something like the USPTO website. You could consult a lawyer or a solicitor of some sort. And you could also just make sure you're not blatantly copying things like Star Wars designs and Disney designs. What are some ways to build a strong email list for my store? Having a pop-up happen right at the beginning, like we have when someone comes to your website, like a welcome pop-up. How can I use upselling and cross-selling techniques in my store? Okay, so that's a good question. When someone adds to the cart, you can have other products pop up and say, you might also like. You can also have things in the checkout saying you might also like. And then you can have one-click upsell where they buy, they pay, and then instead of going to a thank you page, it goes to another product page saying, you might like this as well. Do you want to add this to your order? And it could be another t-shirt, it could be another product entirely, it could be a digital download. And then all they have to do is click, yes, add this to my order. They don't have to put their information in again, it will just automatically get added to their order. So that's a couple of ways. 169, what should I include in my business plan for print-on-demand store? Everything. Your niche, your audience, your designs, your competition websites. When I say competition websites, I know I said this, like you don't have to worry about competition, but you can look at other Shopify stores and Etsy stores in your niche to see what they're selling. So that would be competition. Basically, all the information you could possibly imagine, all the way from ad types and the best types of ads that people are doing, video, photo, whatever they are, static, carousel ads. Have it all, and we keep this all in like our Figma, a Figma board, and we have it all categorized by page number, and we have our designs there, our mood board there, we have our brand kit there, we have our email marketing stuff there, we have our Facebook ad stuff there. We just kind of keep it all organized in our Figma sheet. If delivery times for my products are slow, how do I manage customer expectations? Good question. So on our product page, we have a drop down. So we have a about this product drop down, and then we have a delivery drop down. We say, what do we say? I'll tell you exactly what we say. We say free shipping on all orders over $75. Orders are typically shipped within 7 days of placing an order. Once shipped, and this is another like bullet. So bullet 1 is free shipping. Bullet 2 is orders are typically shipped within 7 days of placing the order. Bullet 3 is once shipped. So after that 7 days, please allow 2 to 5 days for orders to be delivered. And then also bullet 4, please also note that shipping rates for many items we sell are weight based. So basically we're saying 7 days plus 2 to 5 days. So people are very aware that it could take some time. 171, what are some ways to get customer reviews and testimonials? We use Loox, and that's where they'll email people after buying an item after a certain amount of days, and then they'll send a follow-up a couple days later. Just to ask them to leave a review. You can also include a slip in the product asking people to leave a review when they actually receive the product. 172. How can I create eye-catching mockups for my print-on-demand products? I have a whole YouTube video going over how to create flat lay mockups using Canva, so definitely check that out. 173. What are the pros and cons of using Printify versus Printful? I've made lots of videos about this, but Printful, I just had a lot of bad experiences with. They messed up a lot of orders. The customer service wasn't what I hoped it would be. Printify have been the complete opposite, so I decided that they are the ones I'm going to go for. Again, this is personal preference. It's what I use. I can only tell you what I do. I can't speculate what other companies would do or say. I can just give you my experience. If you want to go for Printful, then go for Printful. But I use Printify. 174. How important is keyword research for print-on-demand product titles and descriptions? Okay, so for Etsy and Amazon, very, very important. For Shopify, not so important. I do keyword research more so that I can find different keywords so that I can come up with different design ideas. So basically, if I'm searching for like cycling t-shirts, cycle is one keyword, right? But then another one could be bike t-shirt. So bike is another keyword like cycle. And then you've got stuff like pedals and gears and all these other keywords that I could use when I'm actually doing my design research. I can use these keywords to find different types of designs. 175. Should you create separate social media accounts for each niche store? Yes. They are separate businesses entirely. 176. How do you handle customer complaints about print quality? Always be apologetic, always give a refund, and always send them a new one for free. 177. Again, by the way, customer service is so vitally important in this business. 177. What are the benefits of using print-on-demand marketplace at Redbubble versus your own store? So Redbubble, I would never use ever in a million years. But if it's Etsy or Amazon, the biggest benefit is the marketplace, and obviously all the traffic that's already coming to that website. That's probably the only benefit. It's also slightly cheaper to start. 178. Should you trademark your brand or logo for a print-on-demand store? Eventually, maybe, but at the beginning, no. Don't worry about it. 179. What are the best payment gateways to use with Shopify print-on-demand? We use Shopify Payments and PayPal, but you could also use Stripe if you don't have access to Shopify Payments. 180. How do you handle negative reviews or feedback on your print-on-demand store? I will always email. I will, say how sorry I am. I'll see if there's anything I can do. I'll offer a refund. Basically anything. And usually people are quite happy with that. 181. How do you analyze competitors' print-on-demand stores to get insights? So I go on Google and I will search for my niche, and then I'll put Shopify store or just my niche and then t-shirt designs. I'll then go to Google Shopping, the shopping tab, and then I'll go through and find a whole bunch of competition websites. I'll then organize on those competition websites by their best sellers, and I'll see what their best sellers are. I'll go through their order process. I'll see their whole order process, and I'll just compare and contrast with my own site. 182. What are the risks of using third-party fonts in your designs? It could be quite risky, but then also not so much. Like most of the fonts I use are free fonts that are free for commercial usage. If you're using a font that isn't free for commercial usage, there is a possibility that someone will reach out to you, but it's very unlikely. Again, this is not me giving you legal advice. Do it at your own risk. 183. How do you set realistic sales goals for your new print-on-demand store? I just, I try not to get hooked on the goal of sales because you don't have control over that. What you do have control of is over the designs and the ads. So same with YouTube, right? I don't set a goal of getting 100,000 views because I don't have control over how many views I get. I'll set a goal of creating 10 videos because I'm in control of how many videos I create. The same with Shopify or Etsy or Amazon or whatever. The same with getting sales. I'm not going to set myself a goal of getting 500 sales because I can't. I don't have control over the 500 sales. What I will say is, right, if I make more designs and more ads, I'll get more sales. So my goal is going to be to create 150 designs. Hopefully that leads to 500 sales, but at least with the setting a goal of 150 designs, I'm in full control of doing. I can actually hit that goal. Whereas if I create a goal of 500, I might not hit it, and then I'll be down and upset and all of that. So create realistic goals that you can actually achieve. 184. Last question. What strategies can you use to recover? Oh, no, that's a question we've had already. That's just an abandonment cart question. Those were all the questions. I'm sure I've missed out some questions. So if you have more questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. And if you got this far in this video, give yourself a round of applause because this was a long video going over as many questions as possible. I'm sure I missed some out. These are just all the questions that I've been given over the last few months, I would say, and I just collected them all, which is why there were some duplicates as well, because obviously I get some duplicates. I could probably do a round 2 of this video going through more questions. But yeah, if you got this far, it sounds like you are really serious about print on demand. If you are really serious about print on demand, please check out our community. I guarantee you it will help you reach your goals a lot faster, and it will allow you to go down the right path without straying too far, making too many mistakes. It's an amazing community. There's so many people in it, and it's just an awesome, awesome place to be. In a business that is so lonely, it's nice to have other people helping out. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helped, and I'll see you in the next one.